Hi, my name's Ranier Wolter, and I'm a fashion designer and an artist based out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Grew up on the East Coast in Pennsylvania, and then went to school for fashion design. And the only reason that I found fashion design as a career was because I had a guidance counselor that kind of saw that I liked to create things, make things. They were able to realize that my learning style wasn't quite traditional. I struggled with traditional learning, and but they saw the potential that I had whenever it was in terms of anything creative, art, building, making. So they set me up with a summer program at Philadelphia College of Textiles and Science. And so in between 11th and 12th grade, I went there and did a 1 week program where you stayed on campus and then just explored the different opportunities that the campus had to offer for fashion design, apparel design, and textile design. And it just clicked. I always struggled with traditional learning, and this was the first time where everything just made sense to me. It felt like I found my tribe, my calling. I don't know. I I did not think that I would go to university. Um, I figured that I would just enter the workforce like so many people from my town did, and but because of this experience um, that my guidance counselor exposed me to, it really changed the trajectory of my life. So I went to Philadelphia and I went to the 4 year program, and it was amazing. Um, and then I just kept with that career of apparel design, fashion design, textile design for the past 20 years, and it's been a really great experience for me. Um, so, in my own words, what I do, I mean, right now I consider myself a creator, a collector, a tinkerer. I'm constantly creating and making, whether that's art, apparel, um, conceptual thoughts. I'm constantly creating. I'm a collector because I'm a collector of objects and things and knowledge. I'm always curious about how things are made. Um, I've got a childlike curiosity that guides me through my creative practice, and that curiosity is what enables me to be a good designer, because I'm always looking for, well, what about this? And what if? And, well, how did they do this? And how could we? So, apparel can be a very creative place where you can explore the unlimited opportunities that textiles and pattern making and garment construction can provide. In terms of training, yes, I went to a 4 year university for fashion design, and I came out of there expecting to be a fashion designer. I didn't know when I got into fashion design that there were so many different opportunities or career paths that were not just fashion design. There's designers, there's technical designers, there's graphic designers, there's the people who design the materials, the graphic designers who make the prints. There's just so much that you can do with a fashion apparel degree that has nothing to do with just drawing pretty sketches. I would say very few people just sketch all day. That's a very rare opportunity. Um, Apparel is just like any other industry. It is an industry. There's going to be the the dumb stuff that we have to do every single day just to make a dollar. You are working for somebody to make them money, and in compensation, they pay you for making them money. So just don't get into apparel design thinking that it's going to be all like glitz and glam. There's so much that is not glitz and glam. that you just have to deal with. The best part of my job is that I think I get to work with textiles, and textiles are really important to me, or I feel like really connected to it because it's connected to so many other people. Everybody across the world puts on some sort of apparel or fiber that is meant to protect, to cover, to soothe, to warm. I mean, you can't go a day without interacting with a textile. And I find textiles in the form of apparel and fashion is a very interesting way for one to express oneself without saying a word. I mean, I think you can see from this video, I might not look like your traditional professional, but I assure you that I've had high stake jobs, whether it be a director of production or a VP of production or like the head of a design team. But I don't look like the suit that traditionally would come up and talk about that. And I think what I enjoy about apparel is it seems like a safe space for me to be creative, not just in the work that I do, but in the way that I express myself. So apparel is a place where I can easily show up being my true authentic self and not feeling I'm being judged for it. Instead, I'm being praised for it. The most stressful part of my job, I would say, for me, myself, I was never a traditional learner. I was never the bookworm that, if you tell me to read this, I can regurgitate those facts. That was not me. And I was a very creative, very hands-on person. So a lot of my job, I have to work on skills that I don't have, or that are not as strong as my creative skills, because in the end I am working for a corporation that is there to make money, and so they're relying on me to not just be a creative, but to be a functioning part of their business structure. So I have to be a very clear communicator, so I've had to work on that. I had to work on my spelling, because spelling, I would flip words and numbers and letters interchangeably, so I had to work on that. I have to be able to be on time, to show up for meetings, and to be able to schedule things. There are a lot of things that creatives are asked to do that aren't necessarily related to their true strength, which is that creative. So the part of the job that I don't always love is the part that actually probably makes the money. For any advice that I would give students looking to get into fashion design, I would say definitely start exploring now. How interested are you in apparel? Are you finding yourself looking at clothing, at how it's made, or what you might do differently? Do you just appreciate garments or wearing garments, or are you really a thinker of how these garments can take on different forms other than just a t-shirt? I think in design, if you really want to be successful at it, you have to have a voice that wants to come out and a point of view. So finding your voice is important, and now's the best time to do that. So while you're exploring your own sense of style, you can figure out how disciplined you are, or how passionate you are to go into this industry, because it is an industry that's very competitive, and you have to really be willing to put in a lot of hours of work to make sure that you keep progressing. Because there's lots of people that want to enter this industry, but not a lot of people who really want to get in there and do the work. The coolest thing I've ever done in fashion, it's kind of happening right now. I used to say that the travel was the best thing about working in fashion, but that's not true for everybody. Not everybody is going to have an experience like I did, where I was able to travel over and work in Italy with these amazing artisanal factories. I would go sometimes 8 to 10 times a year to present collections and then work with them to make sure that the designer's intent was realized. But not everybody does that. So much is done through digital means, through email, through Skype, through whatever digital mean you might communicate. But we're linked through the web so closely now that people don't need to travel as much as they used to back in the day. Um, but yes, I think travel was the coolest thing because I could learn from people. I could go see the factories. I could work with the pattern makers, the cutters. And I just felt like I learned so much during those trips, and it was so rewarding for me. Um, I think the biggest thing that I love right now about being a designer is that I've been able to take my skills as a designer and transfer them into a more traditional form of art. So now I've been getting into art and sculpture, how fibers can record data and history. Um, so even though I might be branching outside of traditional apparel, there's always this thing with textiles that follows me because I've always been so obsessed with them, with apparel, how it's made, how fabric's made, how yarns are spun. I've got countless machines. I'm just literally obsessed with the making and creation of garments. And I think if you find yourself that you've got that same sort of adventurous curiosity or that obsessive compulsiveness that just draws you in, where you just want to make and build and create, then maybe apparel design is for you. But I would just say, remember, there's so much more in the apparel industry outside of designing that you can explore. So definitely talk to people. Try to see if you can figure out who else does other things in the apparel industry that are outside of design, because you might just find your happy spot like I did. So I wish you all the best, and thanks for taking your time to listen to me. All right, bye.